Okay, welcome back everyone. Um, on this video, we're going to go ahead and go out to um, First Officer Keen's Lifepod out there. There's some important resources there, and then once we collect those, I'm going to come back and drop off resources, and then we're going to head to the next beacon that he gives us, which will give us lots of scannables to start upgrading our base infrastructure. But before we do that, we're going to play a quick round of Don't Go There. As we're getting ready to leave the safe shallows for real, for the first time in this series, I just want to. Most of the biomes aren't too bad. Once you learn the hazards, they're not really any worse than the safe shallows. But there are a few places you don't really want to go until you're really ready. One of those is going to be directly aft of the Aurora, back here by the thruster nozzles. The whole side of the Aurora here in the crash zone is... Oops, I can't go all that far because I'm wearing a rebreather, not the radiation suit. Anyway, this whole side of the Aurora, up to where it starts to fall apart up at the front there, is essentially safe, assuming you have the appropriate radiation protection. But back there behind the nozzles is a part of the crash zone where there are multiple Reapers. And same deal out in front there. If you get out past that place where the girders are showing, which is where you'll eventually enter the Aurora to do some stuff in there, fix the reactor cores and whatnot. If you get out past that point, there's another one out there. You don't want to go there. The other spot you don't want to go is the dunes. Lots of Reapers out there. Those are the two main ones that new players can easily run into. That's pretty much due west, a little bit northwest. If you're out in the sparse reef, which we'll go there in a minute, don't head north from there. And then the last one is the mountain island over there. If you go there, which we will eventually, you'll want to stay kind of to the left side of it, which would be like the northwest side. Once you get around the far north end and start coming back down the eastern side, again, there are some Reapers there you have to watch out for. Reapers are dangerous. They're not the be-all end-all, but you have to work a little harder if you catch aggro from one, and you stand a fair chance of getting an unmodified Seamoth wrecked in one go. Well, not one. He technically has to attack you twice to really blow it up, but without a perimeter defense, you really don't have much choice except to run. Anyway, the Lifepod. Here we go. Now, we do not yet have a depth module on this Seamoth, which means if you notice that up in the upper center part of the display shows our current depth and then a big yellow 200. That is the crush depth for the Seamoth currently. Without a depth module, we can't take it deeper than that without having it start taking damage rapidly and eventually be destroyed. So, if you'll notice on the beacon there, it says it is at 300 meters in the parentheses there. So we won't be able to take the Seamoth all the way down there with us. But that's okay. We have a rebreather and high capacity tank. We'll be fine. So we're past the kelp. We're heading out through the grassy plains now. That wreck there, if we didn't already have it, it has some fragments for the propulsion cannon, the laser cutter, and sometimes modification station and batteries. Battery charger, just like that other wreck on the other side in the grassy plains. And it'll occasionally have like scanner room fragments and things laying around the outside. Part of the wreck you have to have a laser cutter to get into. Ironically, sometimes that's the part that has the laser cutter fragments in it. So I usually go to the other one because it's a little easier to access. But if you happen to end up in a game where you get skunked for certain fragments at the other grassy plains wreck, you can come check this one out. You might get what you need, or you might be able to come back after you get the laser cutter and get what you need there as a backup. And it's pretty easy to find. It's just south of the Lifepod 17, and that section of grassy shallows isn't very big. It's not hard to find it. All right, so now we're heading down through what's known as the sparse reef to the deep sparse reef, which is where we will find the Lifepod. And this area is pretty safe. You can hear a few reef backs up there. They pretty much anywhere you hear reef backs, a lot of times you're safe from anything more dangerous. Probably the worst thing down here is going to be some tiger plants down in the trench there. So now as you get close, you can see there is a wreck here. There's typically some pretty cool stuff at this wreck. Some parts of it you can't get into without the laser cutter, which is kind of a bummer because we didn't bring it. We don't have it yet, but we're going to fix that. Thermal plant fragments. We're going to want the thermal plant because we sited our base right next to that geyser, partly because we can build a thermal plant down there. And that'll take care of a lot of our issues. And a lot of other locations, you would want to build a bioreactor early in the game to supply additional power needs, especially once you get a moon pool up and running. But if you site it close enough to somewhere you can build a thermal plant, you don't need to. Alright, now we got the torpedo arm for the prawn suit. There's often some prawn arms out here. There's a desk.
New blueprint acquired.
Some free water. Oh, power cell charger fragment. That'll come in handy later. Light stick, which you don't really need that, but you know. Bit of furniture.
New blueprint acquired.
Alright, we'll get down there in a minute. We have to be a little bit judicious with our time when we start getting down into that trench, because even with a rebreather... Oh, that's handy. We'll need some of those.
30 seconds.
Even with a rebreather, you only have so much time. And the sea moth right now is about as deep as it can go. So you do just want to watch your time and make sure you give yourself adequate to get back. Oh, I almost forgot. There's a time capsule. These will have random goodies in them and sometimes a message from a former player. So, yeah. And in this case, they gave us a water and a thermal blade. Well, take the thermal blade. That'll save us upgrading the knife later. Basically just costs a battery and your existing knife in the modification station. But the water's not going to hurt anything there. Alright. We don't have the storage module on the sea moth yet, so our storage space is kind of precious here. Oh, there's another bit of wreck up there. More torpedo arm fragments, which we don't need. Another chunk of moon pool. And looks like a piece of thermal reactor too. Alright, we got our moon pool. Sometimes you have to go... Oh, I already had the thermal plant. Sometimes you have to go browsing around on the floor of the mushroom forest or similar areas to finish finding all the pieces of the moon pool. We don't have to do that because we found them here. I'm actually not gonna save that stuff. There are some other resources here that we want more. Down in this area, there are rubies, shale outcrops, so you'll be able to get some lithium and diamonds and some things like that, and typically some gel sacks, which you will also want. There should be some stuff up on this shelf here too. Also, and there's eye stalk plants here, which you'll need a piece of one of those later in the game. Not to spoil anything, but you'll need that. I'm not going to grab it right now because it takes up a bunch of inventory space. Also, if you notice, there's some tiger plants hiding in amongst it. If you get too close, they'll start shooting barbs at you. Yep, like that. And they do sort of sting, so I'm not going to play with them right now. And of course it's not.
Welcome aboard, Captain. Warning, maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
Yeah, see what I mean? That doesn't go any deeper without a depth module. So, off we go with our trusty Sea Glide. There's the life pod. Some eggs. Data box. Ultra high capacity tank. We're going to want one of those. So we will build that a bit here. We need lithium for that too. Yep. Fair bit of lithium actually.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
That gives us a new signal.
Integrating
All right,
new PDA
we'll head
data.
there next. Another one.
Keen, this is Aurora. Come in. This is Keen. Lifepod detached to OK planet fall in 30 seconds. The computer has identified a landmass at the attached coordinates. I want you to regroup the crew there. Understood, but they are your responsibility now. Don't let them down. Captain, you need to evacuate. Negative. You'll need the ship in one piece if you're going to contact HQ on the long range. I'm attempting a controlled descent. Captain?
Okay. There's also quite a few of these Reginalds in this area. Later on, when you get your alien containment up and running, they're quite useful if you breed them for food.
Oxygen.
Alright, so I want to go that way a bit. You only need a few gel sacks, because once you get an exterior grow bed, you can propagate them pretty easily. So I'm not gonna grab all the ones I see here. Oh, there's the other part of that power cell charger. Neat.
New blueprint acquired.
Thermal plant. Already have. Let's grab another ruby. What am I looking at here? Yeah, I want some more lithium though. Normally a bunch of shale nodules down here, or outcrops down here, and not seen as many as I expected. Which is kind of a bummer, because I need some diamonds to build the laser cutter. Those come from shale outcrops. I don't really need more rubies at the moment. I don't. Yeah, where did I leave my sea moth? That is definitely a hazard. The PDA is not lying when it says that. Especially at night, it's really easy to get disoriented.
Warning, maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
It's a good thing they don't crush you instantly when that happens, because that'd be a real pain. Oh, I forgot those guys hang out here sometimes. Okay. You have to make sure... Wow. I do not normally see that many of those in one place. You can knock them off pretty easy, but if you get a bunch of them and you don't address them right away, it can cause a problem. Ah, there's one. There's another one over there. You know what I mean about sometimes the light does more harm than good?
Remember that materials you gather are the property of the All Terra Corporation. You will be liable to reimburse the full market price. Your current bill stands at 3 million credits.
Yeah, there's one. Half the problem is that the light was getting my way. Alright, ooh, we're right on the edge of the blood kelp trench there. I mean, the blood kelp zone, which is resource rich, but also has a fair few enemies in it. It's a little closer than I like to cut it.
Warning, maximum depth reached. Hull damage imminent.
Yeah, northeast. Alright. Northwest. Let's see. Yeah, I still have room for a fair bit more of that. I definitely want more lithium. So I want to, before I start adding base pieces, I want to build some reinforcement, which requires lithium. And I'm going to need some plasteel also, which requires lithium. So we're going to keep looking here. Find some more lithium. I think I need that. Oh, it's a tiger plant right there. Yeah, I didn't need that. I think I'm going to break this into a two-parter too. It's taking me a little longer to find these resources than I was hoping it would. Alright, well, I'm gonna go play in the Blood Kelp Zone just for a second here, just to give you guys an idea. Ugh, warpers. These things are so annoying. You don't need uraninite unless you're going to build a nuclear reactor. It's essentially the only thing in the entire game that it's actually used for. Yep. Really was hoping to find more lithium down here. I swear I remembered there being more. That's alright. We're done playing around here for a while. Ooh.
Oxygen.
I might have cut it too fine this time. Oh, we're good. Alright, well, I'm not going to make you sit here with me. I'm going to dig around and try and find a little more shale here, and then we will start the next segment once I get that all back to base. Thanks for watching.